reason these people want to live forever without God is so that they can live forever in their sin.
Is technology and us furthering the human race, us building a new Tower of Babel?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Things You Don't Hear in Church podcast. My name is Ethan.
And my name is Derry.
And guys, go check us out on all social medias. We're on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube
iTunes.
Shorts. Yeah, we're on iTunes. Yeah. I don't know.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcast. That's true. That's what it is. It's Apple Podcast.
Does iTunes exist anymore?
Yeah, you can buy stuff from there.
It's not just Apple Music?
I don't know.
Okay.
But also, shout out Magic Minds for sponsoring this episode. Didn't have it today, so I'm stuttering a little bit over my words there just now. The fur. But yeah, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so we're talking about transhumanism or post-humanism today. We're going to go through a lot of different kinds of topics, really just go back and forth. We have a little video to play at the beginning. It's sort of like an intro into the topic, but we'll be responding to the video, but the full episode is not really just about the one topic. Just to kind of talk about the things that we're going to go over, like as an intro. We'll probably talk about stopping death, right? So becoming immortal. Can humans become immortal? We'll talk about the singularity. Can computers like become conscious? Stuff like that. We're going to talk about actual transhumanism. So humans basically adding to their own bodies, which we already do now. But as it gets more intense, right? As technology gets better, like how much of the human body can you replace and still be human? Stuff like that. Is it biblical? Is the end coming because of all of this? Those kind of things, right? Metaverse, all that kind of stuff. Alternate realities. We're going to jump into all of that. What God might think about it, what Christians should think about it, all that.
All right, so here's the video for you guys. And
Told Adam and Eve in the garden, for God knows that in the day you eat from it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like...
I'm going to restart that.
Yeah, I think it's from the middle.
Yeah, it opened up from the middle.
Can we just cut it to
Fresh.
play at the beginning?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What does transhumanism have
Why is that? Close out, okay.
What does transhumanism have to do with the Bible? Well, transhumanism is the theory that mankind can evolve.
Properties.
What does transhumanism
Shut
have
down
to do with...
source. Okay. All right. All right, guys, here we go.
What does transhumanism have to do with the Bible? Well, transhumanism is the theory that mankind can evolve past their limitations, physical and mental, through science and technology. Well, check out what the serpent told Adam and Eve in the garden. For God knows that in the day you eat from it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God. Satan basically told them that they were going to evolve, become greater than themselves. It seems that mankind is willing to do whatever it takes to live forever without God. The reason these people want to live forever without God is so that they can live forever in their sin. But people fail to understand that we will never experience immortality without God. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. No technology and no medicine is going to allow us to live forever. The only way to live forever is to be saved by Jesus. What does transhumanism...
Nice. I agree. Only way to live forever is to be saved. Unlike some people think.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's super interesting because he has, like, obviously, it's interesting that he is bringing in the situation in the garden to me, because I just don't think that, although some of his points might be valid, I just don't think it's the best argument to say you'll live forever and be like God, and that's what technology is trying to do.
It doesn't have anything to do, in my opinion, with his application of the reason why they wanted to be like God was so they could evolve to become like him is nowhere in there, I think. Like, that's not the biblical exegesis of it. I don't think that's the point of the passage. I don't think that's what Adam and Eve were trying to do. I don't understand really what he's trying to say with that passage.
Yeah, it's like taking a scripture that's talking about a direct command that God gave Adam and Eve. Don't eat of this tree.
Yeah.
And then Satan trying to say, oh, you can still eat of it and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
There's no direct command about anything about technology because that's not what the Bible's
or
written
evolving
for.
Or anything.
Yeah, and that's
it's about
not
moral knowledge.
Yeah, that's just not what the Bible's about, right? It's not interested in answering that question. So, although I think there's an argument to be made that Christians should be cautious in how much they engage with this stuff, and I know that you and I always go back and forth about, like, I will become Amish if that's what it means. If that's what it means in the future, like I will not integrate with technology to the point where I'm replacing body parts with like robotic legs, unless it's a necessity. Like if I get in some terrible accident.
We can get into it.
But so I think there's like Christians should be cautious, but I don't think that verse is the greatest verse to use. But I'm curious about what you think. What do you think?
The only two things I have to say about the video was the Adam and Eve part, right? And I just don't think that verse is necessarily very correct, like in how he uses it. The only other part that I thought was interesting is that the motivation for transhumanists is that they want to live forever so they can live forever in their sin. And I just don't feel like that's the motivation of transhumanists. I think it's the motivation of every human being to continue to live, right?
Not all of us.
Well, most people. Sure.
Yeah,
there are people that I was reading actually today on in a podcast I was listening to, or maybe it was on Twitter, I can't remember, of a group of people who are like anti-life just in general. Like they think they're extreme I almost said economists. They're extreme
Gnostics?
No, man, the word is escaping me.
Communist.
No. It's about being pro like the earth and the environment. Environmentalists.
Green. Okay.
Obviously.
Okay.
Stupid. Okay, so they're pro environmentalists, like extreme environmentalists, and which anyone who's an extreme environmentalist, you have to come to the conclusion that humans are bad for the planet. Like we are just bad for the planet.
Thing that's around.
No, we're bad for the planet scientifically.
I guess.
And so if you're going to be an extreme environmentalist, that's like your one goal is to improve the environment. Humans are bad for it, and so their view is that all humans should die. Right?
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. So, but it's what some people believe. And so if you're not one of those people, right? Or you're not severely depressed or something, every normally functioning human being wants to survive.
Yeah.
Right? That we want to live, not necessarily for simple reasons. It's just in our DNA to want to survive and want to keep going. Right? So I don't think that the desire of transhumanists is solely so they can continue to sin. Might be a byproduct, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they like their sinful lifestyle, or they want to just like keep doing the things they're doing.
They want to have control or something.
But I don't think it's the main motivation.
Right. It's not obvious that that's the conscious decision. Like someone's like, I really like this sinning. I'm gonna keep doing it. Now the lifestyle they're in could be sinful, and they want to keep doing that. Like someone who's an alcoholic or sleeping around a lot might want to live forever, so they can keep doing that forever. And that could be what he means. But yeah, it's not that the motive behind building all these things is not so we can live forever in sin, I would imagine, or they could live forever in sin.
Right.
But what I think is super interesting is I heard this, Joe Rogan was talking about this, and he said, he's like, if the devil's real, he's like, if Satan's real, have you heard this?
No.
He said, he's like, if I was the devil, I think I would want people to upload their consciousness to a cloud so they can't die, and I could keep them out of heaven or whatever that is.
Oh,
forever.
wow. Interesting.
And I was like, Joe Rogan spitting facts out here about about possible like reality, and I was like, man, that's actually a pretty good take on thinking about the adverse reactions or adverse purposes and uploading our consciousness. I don't think any Christian should ever in the future upload consciousness to the cloud. Like there's a movie or a show about that on Netflix, I think, and it's not a good look. And that's what the whole show's about, how this guy did that and it doesn't work out and he wants to come back into
Why
the
is Joe
world.
thinking about that? Like, who would ever think about that? That's so interesting.
Why not? God's going after Joe Rogan. That's why.
There's nobody who mentions Joe Rogan more than you and Ruslan on podcasts.
That's true.
It's insane. That's so funny.
Maybe what do you meme? He does a lot of
I don't
reaction
watch him.
content.
Really?
Yeah.
If you go on Ruslan's like Instagram, or no, not Instagram, his YouTube channel,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
literally like 1 out of every 4 videos is not about Joe, and all the
I
other ones
know.
are about him.
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, did you got a crush or something's going on? But they're
It's
all
good
really
clickbait.
popular.
It's
Yeah,
good clickbait.
yeah, it's clickbait. It's like most people use like hot individuals as like their clickbait, like super
Right.
buff guys or like very attractive women, and Ruslan just uses Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yep.
So I think the first question that I think of when I think about transhumanism, and we talked about this a little bit, and we've watched some videos on it. The first thing I think of, and the first kind of claim that a lot of like Christians will make when it comes to transhumanism, is that we're ascending this like new Tower of Babel, right?
Oh, that's
and
an
that
interesting perspective.
technology is this new Tower of Babel thematically that we're building to become God ourselves, right? And that's kind of what this creator was saying. As we want to become like God, we have to create all of this new technology to evolve to the place that we can never die, right? And so that's what a lot of anti-transhumanists will say. To kind of paint a picture, in my mind, this is how I view transhumanism. There's all these atheists, transhumanists on one side, or maybe just agnostics, who knows? And they just want to live forever because they want to continue the human race, right? And then there's all of us in the middle who are like, what the heck's going on? Technology seems to be good, but also bad and not sure, right?
Yep.
And then there's everybody kind of on this more like conservative Christian or, I don't know, conspiracy theory like side of things that are like, this is only bad and going this direction is only from Satan and technology. Like, it's like your mom when you're not my mom, but like some moms when
Not
you're
my
young.
mom.
The classic, like, there's a demon in our computer, like we need to get rid of it kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Where that's probably not true, but maybe surrounding the activities on the computer, who knows? Right?
Well, that's the idea of the demons behind every corner. Every time
Right.
the wind blows and it hurts you, it's a demon.
Right, exactly. So that's, I think, the first thing we can get into is technology and us furthering the human race, us building a new Tower of Babel. Do you think so or not?
Maybe.
Okay.
If people's purposes are demonic and the idea of like, we don't want to follow whatever this God is. We want to be our own gods. We're going to create this after our own image. If that is the motive in the heart, it's wrong. So people definitely in this industry have that motive. Individuals, you know, there's millions of people in the industry.
Yeah.
You got to guess at least 2 of them have that motive, right? And then the other side of it's like, well, maybe not, because it could just be people just trying to be better. Like,
Sure.
people build hospitals because they want to
Yes.
create helpful things. So
We'll go into that later,
people
too.
create technology, things in technology to help alleviate some of the stuff. Like, you got to think about, like, if there's a paraplegic and they could have the ability to walk because of technology, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand, down through history, anyone can observe that anytime there's a really good thing for humanity, there's people who want to corrupt it. Right. And it's sadly
Take
the
advantage.
fact. Yeah. And it's sadly the fact that a lot of our medical advancements lately have been, not lately, but like in the last last 100 years, were because of World War II, people experimenting on humans, and from the German regime. You know, like people
Well, I
doing
don't know if that's true.
it's pretty true.
Okay.
You should look into it. They were doing a bunch of stuff we found out, like surgery
Most
and
of the
stuff.
technology, I know most of the technology we have is from military funding, from experiments that we did in World War II to get better weapons, but
I'm talking about
not necessarily on
people.
people.
No, the Nazis did on people.
Okay.
And then we're like, oh, this actually works. Different stuff. I've heard like different
I
things
never
like
heard that, so I have to look into it.
You could look into it for sure, at least a number of things. If not, probably not everything, but a good number of things. And so there's that aspect where it's like you had technology, abused it, hurt people. That's going to happen with technology. You know, if you have robotic legs that are completely mechanical, someone will try to hack those. Like, someone will.
Or use them for bad purposes.
Yeah, there's sadists out there.
people.
The people just want to watch the world burn, as Alfred says from Batman.
Okay.
You know? And it's like there's people out there who like just want anarchy. So they're like, I'm just going to try to see how far I can take it. And so you got to recognize that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you also can't only look at that and discredit all the good that could come from it.
There's so many sides that you can approach this question at that I just want to talk about all of them because they're so fun to talk about. When I first think about this, I think about the creativity of God, right? And I think about God being creative in the beginning, creating us being creative individuals as God's image, right? And then us being continually creative in heaven, in the new earth, right? I don't think we're going to lose our creativity.
Right.
I think we're going to continue to grow, continue to search out new areas, continue to make new technologies and all that kind of stuff, right? Now we can talk about whether we're going to need to replace limbs and all that in the new heavens and new earth later on.
Probably won't.
Yeah, probably not, but we can talk about it.
Grow them back
Yeah, who knows?
like little lizards.
We just can't die. Well, yeah, it'd be funny. We're little
Respawning.
lizards. Respawning. Could you imagine heaven just like you respawn? That'd be awesome.
It's like things still hurt, but you respawn.
Yeah. Well, like it hurts for like 3 seconds. That's awesome. I never thought about that. That's so funny. Okay, so that's probably not how it's gonna be, but we're still gonna be creative.
You can save your checkpoint. If you don't, you gotta
You gotta go
Sorry.
all the way back.
I keep.
Heaven's just like a big game, whole bunch of like levels you still gotta beat.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay, so
Different skins.
my mind is going all over the place for like,
You got a Minecraft skin.
yeah, there's DLCs. You gotta buy it. You gotta be holy enough based off of what you did on Earth.
Yeah. Right.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm just even thinking about that honestly the whole episode now. But okay. Back to what I was thinking about. So I've completely lost my train of thought, and I don't know what I was gonna say.
We'll be creative in heaven, and so you think about the creativity of God.
So we're gonna be creative in heaven, right? And so I think to say that the creativity we have now to advance the human race, whether to travel or to explore or to not die sooner or to make people's quality of life better, is all not evil, right?
All?
Like that motivation for all those things
Okay.
is not an evil thing, right? People can use it for evil, but that motivation is not an evil thing in my mind because it is the creativity of God that is backing all of those kind of things,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And so I think to say that human innovation in general within technology and the medical system can't be us building our own Tower of Babel because it is us using our creativity. Now, if you're using the creativity God gave us to become our own gods, right? Or like ascend into heaven in our own way, like the Tower of Babel was like talking about, right? Then that is evil. Okay, right? We're distorting the creativity God gave us. And I would say God would probably stop that in my mind, right? The question that you're then presented with is how far can we get before God stops all of this? Like, is there an end to human innovation to where God's like, this is far enough. I'm gonna come back now, right?
Right.
Because we're gonna hit some kind of wall like that where it is just objectively better for life to not be fully human anymore and to be some kind of transhumanist thing, right? Or post-human thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just an objective fact that like we could at some point, if we're given enough energy and given enough power and time and technology, that we could create human-like bodies that have less drawbacks than the ones that we have. And maybe they're bio-based organisms still, but controlled by some kind of technology that doesn't have decaying cells. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Right.
So is God going to stop it before that happens and give us glorified bodies? Like, where is the line here? Right? Because I can see it going pretty far.
Oh yeah, you can get really far. Definitely, like, I think if they didn't make body parts, it would be a cloud system like Ready Player One.
You think so?
Yeah, that just seems like.
I just don't think you can lie to yourself
I
that
guess.
well.
I mean, people stay in video games already for so long.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but a certain amount of people.
But if you make the real world better, then you don't need to be in a video game because a lot of people
That's
will
true.
be in a video game just to escape the world they don't like.
Yeah, it's true. It's like when they like give you a whole bio body, but it's like how Apple slows down your phone if you don't get the update or buy the newest one. If you don't get the updated system, you like age. And so they're like, I'm age, and it's like, well, you gotta install the update. Like, I'm not rich enough. Like,
True.
well,
There's a lot of problems that could arise with it.
yeah,
for sure.
right. Especially because corporations would run it, and then it's like, well, we could give it to government. It's like, well, that's not really ever worked out. And so how do you facilitate that as far as who's controlling it and whether a government or a company controls it? Both are ran by people who, when given a lot of power, become corrupt. It's like, well, you're going to be in the same problem no matter who does it. So do you create an AI to do that, to run it? And then are we just living in a society ran by AI and the AI is being the judge and jury?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that'd be kind of problematic, but it is going to be interesting because if you, have memory loss or amnesia or dementia, you could avoid that. But I wonder how much of technology would replace the authentic human experience to where it wouldn't be satisfactory. Because we thought like internet and like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook were going to be good for society. And we see that like we have the most amount of information, the most amount of opportunity to learn, the most connectivity, and yet depression's at an all-time high. Use of corn is at an all-time high. That's already say depression, anxiety, sadness. It's all like skyrocketing. People feel super lonely. And so the thing that actually we thought would bring us together is actually make us feel more lonely. And so how do we, in my mind, I'm like, how do we not see that just continuing with more technology? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like we're getting further, the more technology we have, the more integrated we are with the cloud and all that stuff, the further we get from the original intent for humanity to exist in natural communities that rely on each other and that are relationship based. And I just don't see us going back to the picture of the garden, if that makes sense.
I don't know if that's true though, because I think we're just using technology incorrectly. Like it's so new, we don't know how to use it. And so it's not malfunctioning, but we're abusing it basically. And that's why we're depressed, isolated, all those kind of things. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't say that like porn is a misuse.
Porn.
Sorry, is a misuse of like that function, right?
Yeah.
And a misuse of technology,
Right.
and so, or like the way that we use it, right? And so
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a good way to use the new technology we have. And so, in moderation, I think that you can have those things.
You talking
and
about corn still?
No, just like
Yeah, in moderation.
no. Just like this new technology.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can have that and still advance and still be looking like the garden. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Because no matter what, we can't go back to looking like the garden. Like the new heavens and new earth, in my mind, isn't us going to be like all naked hanging out in the wilderness together.
Maybe.
It could be, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's going to be really weird, and I wonder how this would affect it, is if we have technology, bio machines attached to us, like robotic arms, would you still reap the benefits of Magic Mind?
Mm.
You
Who
know,
knows?
would you still feel like I do when I have too much coffee, lethargic, like you're powering through, you have lunch and the food coma hits and you're just exhausted, want a quick nap? Took one today before the podcast. Would you still then be able to take Magic Mind while you're feeling depleted and then feel re-energized, feel focused and ready to engage again? Because I know when I was taking Magic Mind, there's been actually two times since I ran out of my supply that I've thought to myself, I wish I had Magic Mind. I'm like tired. I know I need to do something like a meeting or something. And I'm like, man, wish I had Magic Mind, because I know all the ingredients that are in there help me feel ready and focused to engage with the world and what I'm doing.
You got to order some more.
With that being said, going back to the garden, you know, God has put all of these plants for the benefit of humans in nature, and that's what Magic Mind does. They harvest all these things and put them in there. You got like all this matcha, bacopa, something. I keep never not knowing how to pronounce it. Ashwagandha.
Yep.
Rhodiola, rosea, lion's. Whoever is like a health nut is like hearing me. They're
lion's
like,
mane.
yeah, lion's mane. Although I'm waiting for it. Where's the lion's mane? I ain't got no hair.
That's awesome.
Cordyceps and all this stuff that like helps you focus and helps you stay alert, and especially if you take it along with caffeine and stuff like that, it help. And actually, guys, you can use our discount code to freaking get yourself. Look at that. www.magicmind.com/TYDHC. Get 56% off for the first 10 days. It's been out for about a week now, so you got a couple days left to capitalize. After that, it goes down to 20%.
What's the code again for people?
Thank you.
Yeah.
TYDHC 20
There you go.
or 22.
56%
What do we
off.
say?
I think it's 20.
20. It's 20. TYDHC 20. It's in the description below. Follow the link. Use our code. Get yourself 56% off for the first 10 days, 20% off after that, to get yourself feeling focused and ready
There you
to
go.
be creative and take on the day. And I don't know how that'll help the biochemicals or the bio stuff in the technology.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. So one thing that we saw in a video we watched earlier, I forget who the user of the video or the maker of the video is, but he was saying that this is the same guy who was saying that the technology we're making is a new Tower of Babel, right?
Okay.
This other guy, was saying that the advancements in medical technology that we're making is just subverting the power of God to heal.
Someone said that?
Yeah, subverting the power of God to heal, and that eventually we're going to have so many, or like such an advanced medical system that we won't need God anymore, basically. And I was like, dude, you're sounding like some Christian Science like propaganda right now. It's crazy.
I'm so mad if you can't tell by my...
It's pretty crazy, right?
That's such a bad take,
It's
dude.
crazy.
What the heck?
Yeah.
You can't be serious. Like, I want to ask that person, have you ever gone to the doctor?
Right.
Okay.
They haven't.
And listen, if they've never gone to the doctor and they've been healed 100% of the time,
That's awesome. Teach me how.
yeah, teach me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, go to the
show me your
hospitals
face.
yourself and also do that. You know, like
Right.
let's spread the word. I'm done. But saying medical advancements, that's like saying if you make too much money, you don't need God to provide for you. And so it's bad to make too much money because you don't want to. I'm like, God gave us brains to make medical systems to help us.
Right.
God gave us humanity the ability to make money so you can have a life that blesses other people. You know, like, you can't just say, oh, it's just such a bad take. I'm so ruffled.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I think that kind of leads us into the next topic of how much technology is too much, right? To put into your body that that Christians shouldn't put into our body or
Right.
use in our body, right?
Right.
Because like you said earlier, right? Medical advancements are good, right? And you gave an example of someone's Alzheimer's being healed.
Like if
or
there was
what
some
it?
technology that could cure Alzheimer's or dementia, that would
Right.
be really interesting to try to be like, oh, maybe.
Right. So I think what we're saying.
Or just take magic mind, you won't get it.
So yeah,
That's not a medical. I'm not a doctor. Do not sue me.
disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. We do have this right now, right? We have technology
Dementia?
that if
forget.
integrated can heal or fix people and give them a better quality of life, right? And so like the most basic version of that, like that you could see for like someone who like needs a visual, is your hand, you lose it, or a leg, you lose it, you get a
Yeah.
prosthetic.
Yeah.
And you can get like a very advanced version of that. It's not just like a piece of plastic or metal that can actually move and connects to like
Yeah,
your
they're crazy.
Yeah,
and
they're
they're
awesome.
soft metal now. They have this technology. It's like a soft metal, so it actually like mimics like flesh. It's like
Whoa.
a plasticky thing. It's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So like we wouldn't say that Christians shouldn't get those prosthetics.
Right.
But we're saying, are you saying, because this is your opinion, are you saying that it's only okay for Christians to get those prosthetics if they need them because of medical things, and it would be immoral or unethical to get it if you didn't need it, even if it's better than the hand you have now?
Well, I don't think it's about morality or ethics, like right or wrong morally speaking. I think if it ever came to a point where you're giving up your autonomy, like if someone could have the ability to hack a system to make you do something you don't want to do.
But
Like-
couldn't someone hack a system if someone needed it? Like if someone
Well,
needed a
that's what
prosthetic?
I'm saying. I don't know. I mean, this is how people are going to listen to this and be like, you guys have no knowledge of how this stuff works, which is, you're right. I don't. But like, would it be a closed system where it's just the person's brain to the hand? And is that like a closed system where there's nothing externally that's going on to send Bluetooth? Like it's not like a Bluetooth signal from the brain here. Because if
Yeah.
it's a Bluetooth signal that's like that, you could might be
I
able
think
to-
they're connected to the nerves.
Okay, yeah, because the nerves are kind of acting like wires, and it's a closed system. That might be a different story. It's probably less able to be hacked. Like
What if someone, let's just say we know nothing about it, but let's just say someone could hack it.
right? Because this is what I'm saying, right?
Should someone not get it?
I wouldn't get it.
But
I
like,
think
what's the pros and cons?
I think because it's possible to be hacked, it's possible to be controlled, and there would be a central control over your being that's not you, and like.
But they're just using my hand.
Yeah, but it's still like, why would you want to give that up, that control? Like, think about this, right? I'll give you a little situation. I rented a Tesla the other day to go on a date with my wife and her sister and husband. Super fun. But they have this thing where you can they like electronically limit the car to only go 85 miles an hour max.
Oh wow.
So you can't go faster than that. Which I was like, Tesla's beautiful. I was like, this is the most fun car I've ever driven. If I had money, I would consider buying it. But then I thought, but the fact that they can just remotely shut down parts of the car or the entire car because it's all electric based made me feel like, I don't know about that. Because yes, it would be good for like a high speed chase. If someone stole a Tesla, the Tesla could just shut down the car and it can't move. Problem is that's taking away control from the driver. And what if there was a danger or a bad situation that I'm trying to get rid of? Like maybe the government turns evil and is trying to attack me and I try to drive away and then they shut down the car. Similar concept if you have technology integrated with you. What if in this futuristic version, what if there's a thing where if you're a Christian, you have to go let yourself be known and they're going to throw you into prison camp, you know, just to get crazy out there. But if that's the case and you have these robotic legs, they can either march you to the camp yourself and you can't do anything about it, or they could just turn off your legs and come get you or something like that. That's like the extreme that I think about. And because I'm like, look, if there's a centralized control, if they have like if they can send a signal wirelessly to make me do something, that means I don't have full control over my body, which means I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's a conflation there though, because like with the Tesla, they control everything with that, right? They can turn it off if they want. But if it's just a hand or just a leg, then like you can choose to just not use a hand or leg, and you weren't gonna have it in the first place. Like you were somebody who was crippled.
No, but I'm saying you can't choose to stop using it. Like you can't turn it off.
But it's just a hand. I can choose to not use my elbow in moving my hand wherever I want.
Assuming that's just a hand, but if they can, why would you even want to give up that much control in general?
If you don't have a hand.
Okay, if you don't have a hand, that makes sense. But
So that's the situation we're talking about.
but
right
they're just
now.
gonna do this. You're just gonna hold it.
Because it
Up.
would just be this. They'd be controlling my hand, just doing this. And you're like, this is annoying.
They just flipping off everybody. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it's not me. Sorry,
I got hacked. I'm sorry.
I'm the trolls, my neighbor probably.
That'd
Yeah,
be
something like
awesome.
but going to the extreme of like your legs, or I would wonder if it's a chip in your head that sends something to your body. The chip in the head might You could get into the mark of the beast stuff. We covered that a little bit. It's probably wouldn't be what it is, but just in case we're wrong,
Right.
you might not want to get it. But but I would think also with that, what thoughts could they send to your brain to make you like slowly convinced? Because like we know like there's people trying to push narratives on social media and the news and stuff like that all the time, trying to get. But like, how much more could that be taken to the nth degree to be thinking specific thoughts that you're not trying to think? If there's technology that's in your head, you know what I mean? I just don't want to give up that control.
Let's talk about specific instances, right? Let's just talk about someone who needs a prosthetic. Is it ever, if it could be hacked, would you think it would ever be unethical or wrong, Christian-wise, for someone not to get a fake hand or a fake leg? If they don't have, let's say you don't have your right leg, and it can be hacked.
I don't think it's a moral or ethical thing. I think it's just dumb.
Wait, so it's not like a sin issue?
No.
You just wouldn't do it because it's dumb.
You're not sinning. You're just being dumb.
Okay.
Someone listening has got it. I'm like, dang it.
Why legs can't be hacked? You know what I mean? Like, they can't right now.
Not
and
yet.
it would be weird if they could, because I don't know why there would be a Bluetooth signal that would be able to control it, because it's probably just be connected to your nerves. So probably never hackable, but like just in the fantasy
you
world.
download the
in.
dancing.
Exactly. That'd be awesome.
Thing. That's what it's for.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you were in an extreme situation of like both legs and like they can control where you walked, that'd be pretty crazy. I still think you could stop it. Like, you got arms, you got the rest of your body, just fall backwards. You know what I mean? Like, I can use my abdomen to fall backwards if my legs don't want me to.
I don't know, dude.
100%.
But you're one system right now, so you can't tell your brain to fall back and your legs keep you up. Because if your legs are separate from you, they could be strong enough to not follow. I have a balance. You could use just physics.
Yeah. I mean, the entire half, like upper part of my body leaning one direction is going to make me fall. You know what I mean? I guess they could like be real swift
You just
with
have
it.
bad balance.
True, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Got bad balance, I guess.
But I just think like I just never want someone to have that much control over me. So I'm like,
so what if somebody, and we're just talking about for medical reasons right now, like someone needs this. What if someone, it was going to cure their Alzheimer's if they get this chip in their brain? Like, would you think that they should do it? Like, as a Christian?
Again, I don't know.
Not a lot of evidence that
There's
you can
not
hack them or anything.
Evidence that would be sin, especially because it's not like get this chip or you can't buy or sell.
Yeah.
Because the most, if the mark of the beast is a future thing that we have to worry about, it would be about participating in society. And so because the Alzheimer's thing wouldn't stop someone from participating in society, I would think like, I guess it's up to the individual. Again, for myself, I don't know if I would do it. You also, just to be kind of crass, you might forget it's possible. Like, you might hear about it and then forget that it's possible because you have Alzheimer's.
Yeah, maybe.
A little dark humor there. But that'd be really interesting because also people who usually get Alzheimer's are usually towards the end of their life anyways.
Sometimes.
So it's kind of like, would that cure and you could keep living, or like, am I going to bite the bullet anyways? Not to bite the bullet. Am I
I mean,
bite
lots
the
of people
dust
get
anyways?
Alzheimer's in their 50s.
Really?
Yeah, lots of people.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it wouldn't be a moral thing. Again, it's not wrong or right. I just am always cautious about putting anything in my body that is foreign like that.
But I mean, if you were to recommend for someone, like, they're going to basically lose who they are and just be kind of a zombie for 30 years of their life, or they can get this chip and continue to live as who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be a really hard question.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I think they should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because there's no, like, evidence that you'd be able to control the whole entire person's body at that point.
Right.
Maybe the most I could say you could probably do is suggest things to them, but we don't even have the technology to do that
You know
yet.
what'd be crazy sinister is if someone got it and then rather than curing their Alzheimer's, it just made them think it was, but they just somehow were able to make them like shift their memories of the past just a little bit. Where it's like, I think I had a conversation, but in reality, maybe I had a conversation, but this sinister thing makes me think that I had an argument. So I'm mad at the person. And they're like, why are you mad at me? And it's just like feeding you lies to ruin your life.
I think the way we're thinking about this is something that doesn't exist yet and won't exist for a while. Like, it's so much more powerful than the Neuralink that Elon Musk has and stuff, and different companies are developing right now. So we're all just kind of hypothesizing.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
It's just good fun.
Where do you think the line is then for Christians where it does become a sinful issue of like, we as Christians should never advance this much of our bodies into technology, right? Because right now we've just been talking about like, if someone needs it. I am currently under the impression or the opinion that it would be immoral to destroy part of your body that God created to integrate more technology.
Like willingly.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna cut off
Like
my arm.
if my arm is pretty cool right now, and
Yeah.
if there was like a super awesome arm that had like, I don't know, like a gun on it and like
Oh my god.
super strength or something
you're
like that.
American for sure.
Yeah, it was like red, white, and blue, and like had like stars like going all over it, right?
Yeah.
Super cool arm, just had that cool
Light
skin
up
on it.
tattoos.
Yeah, if it had that, and I chose to have surgery to cut off my arm to get that arm, I currently think that would be immoral. I could have
Yeah.
someone maybe argue me down from it, but that's what I
I mean, it's a
currently
good,
think is wrong.
it's a unique and good take to say that you're destroying a thing that God gave you
Yeah.
for something that you think is better that man made.
Yeah.
So you might be replacing a God given thing for a man made thing, which is problematic.
On the other side of that, though, we do believe we live under a curse and that humans aren't created perfectly and that God doesn't orchestrate every atom in our body from us being born, because then God would be orchestrating imperfections, right? And so you could say, well, God didn't necessarily, he is the author of me, but that's like me, not necessarily like my body. You can make some arguments there and say, like, well, I'm just going to cut it off because like it's imperfect and it's just part of this fallen world and there's a better version that I can put on there. I wouldn't subscribe to that argument. I think there's
Right.
holes in it, but someone could make that.
Right. I would just say that like we've been redeemed from the curse and we are the temple of the Lord as the Lord's created us, and whatever way we are made. And I know like our physical body. Well, there's an argument to be made that your physical body is the temple, but I know it's deeper than that. It's like being
Yeah,
human and
deeper than that.
your spirit is there. But yeah, I just don't think it's a good or wise thing to just willingly replace parts of your body for possible things you think are better, because it's also kind of short-sighted in the grand scheme of things, where it's like, again, like what if you did replace it and then like you have to use wisdom and everything, but it's like you don't know the adverse reactions. You don't know, is it going to fail one day? Is it going to have to be replaced and it's going to be super extremely expensive and you can't get it, so now you just have no arm? Or is it going to be like an oil machine?
Well, I don't think that has to do with the ethical ramifications of it, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it is interesting, and I don't know if you can answer, if any of us can answer, how much can you replace before you're not human anymore?
Sure.
Because
yeah.
I don't know, you can never stop being human.
Well, you could.
I don't know.
I think you could.
Like whatever you are, whatever the substance of who you are is, that's what's real. But
if you fully uploaded your consciousness to, which we don't know how to quantify consciousness right now,
right,
but if we somehow were able to upload consciousness to a computer and you had a fully cyborg body and there's zero biological matter of you left, would you still be a human being?
that's a good question.
I
I
think
don't
you'd
know.
be post-human.
Yeah, I'd say
thing.
post-human, because you no longer are a thing that exists. Like the numbers and zeros on a screen or what that is, that's more, it's weird to like you exist on a hard drive, but you're not like a thing. Like you're not like, if there's an EMP that goes off and wipes out all that stuff, you cease to exist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you stop being the thing that makes you a human. It's like saying you could upload your consciousness to a hippo's body, and could you have a hippo's body with your consciousness, and are you still a human? I'd be like, no, it's weird. You're a conscious hippo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like there's two ending questions for this specific topic, and that is, one, how far is too far with people who need to have body parts replaced, right? Like how much is too much that you shouldn't do, or you're not going to become human, or not going to be human anymore, right? And then the last one would be, where's the line then for individuals that don't need those like body parts, right? Because this is so much more nuanced than just like needing to replace a body part. Because we currently are transhuman in a certain amount. Like I have a smartwatch on, right? And I have my phone, and those are parts of me. Like I have them with me at all times throughout the day. Like they're just not seared to my skin or in my body somewhere, right? They're just attached. And so I have added technology to my body at some point in some way. How much of that is too much, right?
Right. I think
Maybe not a question we can answer.
Yeah, especially with the time we have.
Yeah.
I would think if you don't need anything and you're just doing it because you want to upgrade yourself, I would almost think any of it would be wrong.
I agree. Yeah.
Like even like a fingernail. It's like you don't.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. It's like, what's wrong with your fingernail? Why don't you like God's fingernail?
Yeah.
God gave it to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like
But
I really like the argument you made. I'm like, that's a really good take.
Could you get even so minute in that of like, if I didn't want this fingernail because I just didn't want it anymore, I could get a smart fingernail. That
Then
does
you
that
can-
hole that doesn't grow at all anymore. So just like
Right.
it's nice. What about like laser hair removal?
I was just gonna say that
Yeah.
you could then twist the argument, or you can make it even so more realistic, where you're like, okay, Ethan, does that mean anyone who got their hair replaced because
Yeah.
like they're going bald is
Yeah.
wrong because they didn't like the hairline God gave them?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That's probably because it's not mechanical. It's still a natural thing. It's follicles from your body just being moved to another part of your body.
Mhm.
So it's still you.
So editing your current body is fine. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're not replacing with something better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, now an absurd amount of plastic surgery could be wrong in the case that it's like rooted somewhere in deep insecurity and not accepting who you are. But if you were in a horrible accident, like a car accident, and your face was mangled and you need to get plastic surgery, I'd be like, yeah, no problem. Of course.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do we have time? Should we keep going?
I mean, I don't know. We have like 15 minutes till our
Okay,
call.
Yeah.
So
A few more questions.
Okay.
That I have that I think would be interesting. I don't know if we necessarily have time to go through all of them.
maybe like 5 more minutes. 10
Yeah.
more
Would you rather
minutes.
talk about the metaverse or
In 5 minutes?
yeah, in 5 minutes? Maybe we just don't have time. Let's just do a recap.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do another episode about this too.
Yeah, we can do another episode.
We can do another. There's so much we can talk about on this topic. It's crazy.
Yeah. In conclusion, well, actually, before we end, let's just talk about some of the positives.
Yeah.
We can cut that or whatever.
Fine.
Yeah. What are like some of the positives? So we talked about some of the negatives. What are the lines, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the positives that could come from technology and even like brain chips or new body parts or whatever? Like we get to live longer. More people can reach with the gospel.
You don't forget your girlfriend's birthday.
Yeah, I don't
have a
girlfriend's
girlfriend,
birthday.
but if you have a girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
I have an ex-girlfriend called Wifey. What's up? So positives I think could be, well, again, all these positives could be negative. I'm like, well, you could actually know what's going on in the world and have like not rely on the news, but I'm like, but there's a source there. It's essential.
Yeah.
There's something there still telling you what's real.
Yeah.
There could be a bunch of things about like warning you about risks around the corner that you don't know about. If there's like a map that the GPS, if you're being tracked by GPS and it knows like there's a car coming, you could have like a blind spot like in your head, like a blind spot reaction. Or you could possibly somehow be able to know who stole what or who did what crime. But that feels like that's like way far in the
Do you
future.
think, and this is kind of on the topic of AI, I guess, which is kind of what you're going into. Do you think once we have an AI that has consumed all the content that there is, right? I'm not talking about consciousness right now. It's kind of
Right.
like too deep of a topic. Can like computers gain consciousness? If you had an AI that gathers all information on the planet, right? And you ask that AI to run a probability of Christ's resurrection, right? Or that Christianity is true or not, do you think that if it concluded that Christianity was true, that people would convert?
That'd be so sick. I feel like people still wouldn't convert. I mean, a portion of them would. I think honest seekers would, but there's people who put up these excuses, but really what it is they just don't want to repent. I think those people would still find a reason not to. Like,
For sure.
I'm not gonna trust it. That's just,
You think people would trust that AI?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably trust it for other things, but not that thing.
Trust to protect you and driving your car, but
Yeah,
not
but
in telling
not
you
the
if
Allah.
Jesus is God.
Like, yeah, right. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not listening to that.
You think it would conclude theism, just like not even Christianity, just theism in general?
I would think it has to, because it's true. I
Yeah.
mean,
I wonder if someone has an AI that like they asked it, like, can you study like philosophy and just tell me, is theism a good option?
yeah. They'll probably say yes.
I don't know.
There's a lot of benefits to it.
I don't know if AIs can come to conclusions that aren't just like reverberating.
Reprogrammed or
Yeah.
pre-programmed.
I think they can.
Yeah, I don't know. We could get a Christian robotic engineer on here, and that'd be really
We
fun.
could try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks so much. We'll probably have another episode about transhumanism again because it's
Part 2 pretty soon. Yeah.
such a big topic. But have a good day. Have a good week. Thanks for listening in, and we'll see you next week.
Shoots.